What would you say are the keys to, because especially they're two different personalities, but they both are young footballers and they love the game, etc. And what would you say is the key to creating an environment that allows them to fall in love with the game?
Let them lead. If a kid really, really wants something, they will go for it. Mm-hmm. Right? Let him lead. Yes, you create the environment. So for most parents, right, at least be involved in your child's life. And if you're involved in their life, you know what they like, you know what they want to do. And then it's a matter of you just supporting it. Mm-hmm. And I think in the DMV, we're pretty much really, really good with supporting our kids with what they want to do, because the talent in this area is incredible, right? But if a kid really, really wants to do it and they say, okay, you know what? Because you can grow up in this area and play many sports, basketball, football, whatever. But once you've narrowed it down and say, okay, this is what my focus is, doesn't matter if it's basketball or soccer, support them and then just let them lead. Mm-hmm. Because they have access to internet, they have access to YouTube, they know all the clubs more than most of these parents. They know, who's playing here, who's playing there, where the tournaments are, where they can do pickup games at, and thanks to Instagram and all this social media, everything's out there for them.
Yep.
So you just got to be able to be a free Uber, take them everywhere.
I think, the fear with what you just said for a lot of parents, because they've told me, is that, for a lot of these guys and girls, the video games is the big attraction, and the parents are afraid that they would end up just wasting time if you let them lead, if you just let them do what they want to do. Yes, they want to play football and ball out, etc., but they will get so caught up playing video games that they will forget about playing football. And so that's a big fear that that a lot of parents have told me about, really.
Yeah, but fine, right? They're gonna play video game, but have they done what is mandatory, what they need to do? Right? How do you get them to do schoolwork and homework? It's the same thing, right? So you prioritize schoolwork, you prioritize homework, and then you prioritize whatever chores they do in the house. We all do chores in this house. So you prioritize chores, whatever you want to do, and then your free time. If you want to spend your free time playing video game, great, right? Or you want to spend your free time, playing soccer with your kids, playing pickup, getting better at your talent or whatever, then it's up to you. And if the video game is getting too much, just make sure as a parent, when I say lead, I don't mean they gotta just let them do whatever they want to do. Lead with guidance, There's some days that we don't have a game and I'm just like, okay, everybody do their thing. Of course, I mean, we have video games in this house. They play FIFA, they play everything else. They play the Fox Night or something like that.
Yeah, Fortnite. Yeah.
Fortnite, there you go.
Fortnite, yeah. I mean, everybody.
I had a question. So my question was, since she saw the stuff like you have to lead them, what are some of your challenges like raising those two ballers?
Time and money. Time, you don't have time for yourself anymore. Like I got to a point where I stopped coaching at PG. So when I was coaching, I had a full-time job. Coaching was my part-time job, right? Got to a point, so I had to pick between the kids soccer and me coaching, right? It's just when I used to play a lot, when I was in my 30s playing all over the place, it got to a point where Matai has a game every Saturday. I can't play Saturday anymore, So I had to kind of prioritize that. Now it's more like he practiced in the morning for like right now, he practiced in the morning from 9 to 1 every day, Monday to Friday. Tomorrow morning, we're out in Lisbon, and I live in Upper Marlboro, so you can imagine that drive. So imagine, having to give up that time. And then the younger one practices in the evening. So whatever my wife is doing, she's got to wrap it up no later than 4:30 to take him to practice in Colombia at SAC. You know, for with Baltimore Armor. Again, we're living up a Marlboro. Look at that, you know. So there's a lot of sacrifice. And then weekends, we don't have time, you know, games. You travel. Every other weekend, I'm in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, you know, New York, you name it. 2 weeks ago, I was in Dallas at GA Cup with him. You know, and then they call him while we were in Dallas and say, hey, Loudon said, hey, we short on players. Can you come to Oakland? And they're like, well, you want to come to Oakland with him? I'm like, no, if you're not paying for it, I'm taking my butt back home. So I got on the next flight back to DC. I got to make some money. My son, he flew by himself for the very first time, like from Dallas to Oakland. I'm like, no, I'm not. You're not paying for me to fly him. You fly him, I go back home. So, but anyway, I'm not making fun. I'm having fun, but time and money. Soccer in this environment is very, very expensive. It's costly for most parents.
Yeah.
And then to have the time to take them to practice, you know, you got to have a reliable car. You got to pay all these fees. You got to buy the shoes, you know. So those are for most parents, I think those are the top two challenges.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I want you to talk about this more because, you know, we have these conversations amongst each other, right? So for instance, you'll see a kid that gets signed, you know, at 17, 18, you know, to some academy in Europe or even a first team. And the discussion then becomes about, you know, just the talent, right? Like the kid was just talented. And you and I know, you know, we're from the source, you know, so we know that there's some like extreme talent.
Oh yeah.
That never get the shine or get the note, like anything. And so, you know, one of the things that, you know, I've talked about is I think we need to do a better job of letting kids and families know early that, you know, to get there, right? Like there's different levels. Mm-hmm. And to get to that high level requires a lot of things that's not discussed, right? So actually, you know, what you just brought up is actually a good example. You know, even having a flexible job that allows you to, you know, you're going and training from 9 to, you know, whatever it is. And then, you know, having the additional support of your wife to take the other child to the evening, and you need a reliable car. And those are just the basis. Like that's just like, you know, that's just the baseline, right? You're talking about some of the things that's not discussed. Nutrition.
Yeah.
The one-on-one training, like the specialized training that's needed. Yeah. You know, you can just go down like, you know, you mentioned the older one went to a Byron tryout. Well, that requires money.
Yeah.
You know, like, so it's like there's all these things that a lot of us, you know, sometimes we just get caught up in the talent, and the talent is great.
Yeah.
You need the talent to be able to, you know, really get that if you do get the opportunity, but the talent has to be married with all these, you know, these different support resources in order to, you know, to really make use of that opportunity.
I mean, I agree with you 100%, right? When Matai made his debut with Loudon, I posted it and I tagged a whole bunch of coaches. I think like 14, maybe 15 coaches that kind of coached him since little, right? So this kid is 15 years old. He's probably had about 20 coaches throughout his short lifespan, like 15-year-old in this DMV, right? And some of those coaches are not his soccer coaches. Some of those coaches are specialized people, you know, like Tito, Pablo, you know, all these guys that. So again, I have an unfair advantage, and I hate to keep saying that, but a lot of parents don't see. There was a time that I felt like okay, this kid, you got the skills, you got the talent, you got the IQ, but there's certain things that you can't do because you're just not fit enough and you're not fast enough, right? So what do? I look for a speed trainer. That's how Fiero Fitness came in, Coach Titu. So every Saturday, every Sunday during the off season, during the season or off season, we will go to Bethesda, drive to Bethesda, and work on his agility and form and technique, how to run. We did the same thing with Pablo, diets, food, make sure they're eating the right thing and getting enough sleep. People, I think one of the things that most parents or kids, let me use kids, underrate is sleep. If you don't get enough sleep, you're going to get injured, especially if you play at a high level. And I'm talking about MLS Nets, ECNL level, high levels. You're going to get injured because your body only repairs when you sleep, and get enough sleep. So those are
So does your mind.
Exactly. Those are the kind of things that I prioritize. So there's certain times of the day that I take the phone, shut down, and then when you wake up, you can get it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's not a punishment. It's becomes part of life because you need to shut down.
Yeah.
But how many parents let their kids keep their phone and it's 1-2 o'clock in the morning and they're still on Instagram or whatever they're doing on the phone, and then they got to wake up at 6 o'clock. Now they're functioning on maybe 5 hours sleep. And as an adult, if we function on 5 hours sleep, I don't know about you, I'm a big guy, and I know when I get 3-4 hours of sleep, I'm like craving junk food all day. But when I get enough sleep, I'm good.
Yeah.
So think about kids. Yes, they're gonna burn it, but it's just the fact of healthy lifestyle. So yeah, I think resources as far as money and time, time it's the most important thing. It's one of the most important things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good discussion for parents, and kids, but like we talked earlier, the parents have to provide the guidance to the kid. But the piece you just brought up about the phone, right? And taking the phone away to allow the kid to actually fall asleep and get 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night is like, you just blew by it, and we just talked about it in I don't know, a 2-minute stretch. That could be a lifesaver for a lot of kids. Another thing that I constantly talk about is hydration.
Yes.
Right. That even these kids need to drink a lot more than they're currently drinking. Water, I'm talking about.
Yep.
Not Gatorade or Sprite or whatever it is. I'm talking about water is what they need to be drinking.
So that's water.
Yeah. And so, like one of the ways I go about it is like I try to post, in training sessions or practices when kids are going, they go and drink or whatever. I take pictures and just post that, and just say hydrate, just to kind of like plant it in subconscious of the parent and the kid that, they should be drinking not only when they're exerting a lot of energy out here and sweating, but when they get up in the morning, they need, at least a full glass of water. During the day, they should be drinking water, constantly hydrate. So, and I'm bringing this up because there's so many little things that can help move the needle for a lot of kids that have talent.
Mm-hmm.
But I think sometimes we forget that it takes a lot more than just talent. And that's just what, that's why I wanted you to highlight, which is that it takes more than talent. You can be talented, but in this day and age, if you want to play at a high level, you need resources, you need time, you need a community, and that's a whole nother piece where it's like, you need all these coaches and community advocating on your behalf to get you the contact, to get the tryout at Byron, to go and get busy, and then, get the feedback and then link that with Loud. And, this, all of that just doesn't happen just based on talent.
Yeah.
But yeah, so hopefully parents get something from that piece, and we could talk about that more in the future. You, James, were you about to say something?
No.
Okay. What would you say for you as a parent? So now you've had kind of like 3 lives, right? Playing, coaching, and parent, right? And in the parent phase, you've had maybe 15 years of joy, but you've been a player all your life and coaching for longer. So what would you say has been the most memorable moments for this? This is just do 2 for both coaching and being a parent.
Coaching winning always helps. Good memories. I mean, as a player, I remember like it was yesterday. We went to the Final Four of the JUCO National Championship.
Yeah.
And then went back as a coach. So for me, that's a highlight. As a player and a coach. It's unfortunately we didn't win it, but just to be in the Final Four tournament, it's something.
Yeah.
As a parent, it's hard to say one thing. There's so many great memories. Watching my 15-year-old making a professional debut was something I won't forget. At 15, him making the DC United team when he first made it initially, it was great. It was a great experience. Having the experience of having to go to Bayern and still being someone that is still being looked at, it's a great, it's a great memory. So as a parent, I mean, there's so many great things you can reflect on and be like, okay, it's every time, every penny, every effort I've put into this has been worth it. And the jury is still out. We still got a long way to go. We're still grinding.
Yeah.
We're still grinding, So yeah, I mean, there's so many different memories. Just gonna tie it down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's good. Do you have any advice for parents that are, they may have, a young kid, even, I don't know, 4 or 5, the parent themselves are interested in the game and, they want their kid to pursue, or the kid has some talent, right? They can see at 6, 7, or even 8, 9 that this kid has some talent, speed or ball control or even the game IQ. Some kids just study the game so well. Any advice for those parents on what they could do or should do in that situation to help foster their kids' development?
Wow. Just so many advice that I don't know where to start, right? Because I still, like today, I was at a game at 9 Mikael had a game at 9 a.m. today. He guest plays for Touch Kings, right? It was there. And I see some of the things that the parents are doing. I'm like, oh, I wish I can just yell and shout, like, shut up. But I can't.
This is your opportunity. No, I'm serious. Like, one of the things we didn't realize, okay, just how like you saw a couple of the episodes, right? And then, I think I posted something and then you responded to that thing and said, you'd be interested. Like, I didn't know you like saw the episode, or saw whatever episode, right? So like we underestimate how vast we can reach, right? And so it could be something that you say that, and the difference is when you go up to somebody and you're talking to them, like sometimes there's the ego or just the mental noise that they're not really listening to you. They're like, man, who's this guy? Whatever it is. But when they just come across it, right? So like when this get put out there, that those same parents, one of them may just come across that clip or that interview, your interview, and you're talking about like this thing, and they're like, oh, you know what? I shouldn't be shouting from the sideline. That's not good for my kid. That's not good for like just something as simple as that.
Yeah. So, all right. So let me go back to your question.
Yeah.
If you have a 5 or 6 year old that's really good or see something that's potentially could be good, what I would say is this: put them on a team, find a good coach, a good team that they can develop. Don't worry about winning, right? Winning at five, at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is nothing, right? Just find a good home where they can develop. Don't worry about winning. I don't emphasize winning till you get to like U14, 15 and up, right? Just find a good home, find a good coach that can make sure your kid is developed, right? Have them play the game. If they love the game, they will never tell you, I don't want to play, right? Find pickup. My time growing up was around a lot of pickups. People don't understand that. We did pick up with PG Young Boys, Mose. I think it's Mose Ray. Forgot his last name. Yeah, Mose used to set up a lot of pickup for him, Christian Fletcher, Ramsey, RJ, all those guys. Those guys grew up together playing pickup. And that's where they had the most fun and they could do whatever they want to do without any coach yelling at them or any parents yelling at them, right? Even when it wasn't convenient, I will find a ride for my tie to go play pickup, right? We used to drive to Germantown to go play pickup from Upper Marlboro. No joke. That's how we met the guys from Next Level that he went and played Super White a couple years ago, just playing pickup. Believe it or not, when he was 8 years old, Matai used to come to my old man pickup. I used to play, I still do, once in a while. I play pickup in Bowie, and he was the little kid that was just playing pickup with a bunch of adults, had no fear or nothing. So if you have a kid that's good, let them just play, let them develop. Don't worry about winning and going home. And so that's number one advice. Just let them play, develop, and don't focus on winning, focus on development. See the growth, right? See them dribbling, see them, taking shots. You use them both foot. Focus on that. Number two advice is, as a parent, and this is my biggest pet peeve with parents. When the game is going on, stop yelling and telling your kids what to do. You see this all the time. Shoot from where? What the? Shoot. What do you mean shoot? The kid is like way outside the box. Take this. No, man. Control your anger. Ask any coach that have ever coached my kid. Ask any coach, no joke. You can ask Alex, you can ask anybody that's ever coached my kid. I've never yelled shoot. Never in my life. Maybe because I have the unfair advantage of being a coach. But let them hear one voice and one voice only. And I'll give this quick example. I had to bench my friend's son when I was coaching them in futsal, playing with Mikel, with PG Young Boys. I was coaching futsal. And this guy is my friend. He actually played pro in Nigeria. We played in NSL together. But his son, who's okay, but why did you shoot? Go left, go this. And I'm like, I don't want to mention his name, but I'm like, yo, bro, stop. So halftime, I literally walk across to the other side and say, no more. If you want to coach, let's talk. I will get you on the bench. But I only want your son to hear one voice, which is my voice, not your voice. And because it was my friend, I said it nicely. And then he continued, and I took the kid out. And I said, hey, just remember you're on the bench because your dad can't stop talking. When you get home, you all have that conversation. But sit down with me. It might not be fair on that kid, but that yelling and shouting and that irate noise was very, very disturbing to the team. And I didn't need it. But that sent a message to the rest of the parents. Yeah. So now when I hear other parents yelling, if you ever come to my kids' game, you might see me on the couch, on a chair somewhere with a camera, just taking pictures and just enjoying the game. I'm not about yelling and coaching. Now, when we get in the car, the conversation is different. The first content is, how did you think you did? You tell me your performance. Then we can talk about situations in the game that you could have done better, right? You could have done better. Like today, again, Mikel was playing this morning, and he's a tall kid. It's 5'5", 5'6" at 12 years old, and everybody else is shorter, but they're kicking a corner kick and you're standing right on top of the six. So I had to tell them in the car, why are you standing in front of the six when you can go back and you can run forward? You can always come forward faster than backpedaling. So we had to have that, you know what I'm saying? So, but I'm not going to be on the sideline yelling, hey, stay back, run forward. No. We're going to talk about in the car. You learn, you process the information, and next game, I will see the difference. You know what I'm saying? So that's the second thing is just parents, just let the coaches do their job. You do your job once they're in your custody, at home, in your car. And two, the third thing is educate yourself. Educate yourself as a parent, because a lot of these parents don't know. My wife is not a soccer person, right? And I have to continue to educate her. Example, my kids play in MLS Pro, but one of our friends' kids plays in EDP, and she didn't know the difference. And somebody came in and said, "Oh, you got to get your son in EDP. I heard it's the best league that everybody should be playing." I'm like, "Really? Who told you this?" She said, "You don't think they should be playing EDP?" I said, "No." So even my kids had to kind of educate her and say, "Mom, no. There's levels to this thing. We're already at this level. We're not going to this." You know what I'm saying? So as a parent, kind of educate yourself. And also get outside development, one-on-one help, coaching, training. Yes, it costs money, it costs time, but it helps the kid. If a kid is really dedicated and you see that this kid is not fast or doesn't have the right running technique, find a professional. Just because I play soccer all my life and coach soccer doesn't mean I can coach speed, right? I had to get somebody else to do it because that's their specialty, right? Philip Zhao, his specialty is, technique with little kids. Matai had to spend a couple of sessions with him to get certain technique, even though, yeah, I can teach him as a dad and as his coach at that time, but I wanted him to hear another voice, and somebody else that he will respect. So to your kid, you're always a dad, you're always a mom, but a coach is different. I have players that still reach out to me today. I had a player that I coached 5 years ago that called me, "Hey, coach, I want to buy a car. Do you have any recommendation?" That's kind of mentor relationship we have. Yeah. So I said, Dad, a lot of parents think they know it all because maybe they played back in the 50s or whatever, 70s or 80s. I don't know. The way you play the game back then is not the same. Your 4-4-2 formation is no longer the 3-5-2 we play now 4-4-3. So don't don't bring that. Let the kids learn. Let them learn things. So that's just end there. There's a whole different hour I can spend on parenting that I've seen and I see every day. And I still see.
Yeah.
That's well said.
No, that's good. That's good. Hopefully, that message reaches the right audience, and people take heed to it. I think everything you said is extremely useful, is extremely, it's things we talk about a lot on the sidelines, among coaches, among footballers. And, it's just unfortunate that a lot of times like parents don't get to hear that, but this is a good example of to get a front row seat. So there's no, so this is it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
We could do this like I told you before.
Looking at the time, I'm like, damn, it's been that.
It's been longer.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much we could get into. I mean, just even on the parent side, that's a whole thing in itself. But I think where we start is good. We're actually doing a whole series of parents, and I'm liking the response that I'm getting because I think sometimes it can be intimidating to come from coaches or players or like pros or whatever it is, but when there's a parent talking about their experience and some of the things they've done to help their kid, etc., is more relatable for other parents. And so So I'm hoping, the series of the conversations with parents is useful and folks find a lot of value in it. And, hopefully, I don't know, maybe sometime in the summer, we may even do like a panel discussion with a bunch of parents, just focusing strictly on the parenting aspect of, young footballers. So, any last words? How can if folks have both questions for you, or if they're trying to, sign Matai to, that Barca contract or that Chelsea contract, even more so, how can they reach out to you?
Almost everybody in DMV has my contact, but I'm becoming an Instagram person for some reason. Taiye Fact, TAIYEFAK is my IG. So if you DM me, I'll respond for any questions or any requests,
Nice. All right. Any last words or anything you want to leave the folks with?
Just soccer is a beautiful game, right? And it's a fun game. It's healthy. Just if you have kids, just let them have fun with it, man. Let them have fun with it and support them as much as you can. That's the key thing. Support them as much as you can, because they're not gonna be kids forever. So right now, even though I have to make a lot of sacrifice for the kids, but I can't think of anything else I'd rather be doing, at this moment, because in the next 4 or 5 years, when they're gone, I could go back and do whatever I want to do. Even if I want to get back into coaching, I could do whatever I want to do. So right now, it's time for me to support the kids for the next few years, and then, it's my time.
Yeah. Yes. It's been a pleasure. It's always a blast.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks a lot, man. And we will continue the conversation.
All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks a lot. Later. You can end the recording.